Stop, just for a second. Before you scroll past this, answer one question. Do you want to be a woman who wins in life? A woman who walks into a room and owns it? Not because she's loud, but because she's powerful? If your answer is yes, then this moment right here is your turning point. And if you're still listening, then congratulations. You already have what it takes to be unstoppable. You just need the blueprint. And I'm about to give it to you. Now, let me tell you something I wish someone told me earlier. Smart women don't just happen, they are made. They are built through fire, through wisdom, and through the power of knowing who they are and what they stand for. You are about to learn the 7 principles that will make you a woman who not only survives, but thrives. You know what the biggest mistake most women make? They underestimate themselves. They shrink. They make themselves small to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain them in the first place. And the worst part, they do it so often that it becomes a habit, so automatic that they don't even realize they're doing it. You've probably heard the phrase, "know your worth." Sounds simple, right? But let's be real. It's one of the hardest things to actually live by. Because knowing your worth isn't just about feeling good about yourself on the surface. It's about demanding the respect you deserve in every area of your life. Relationships, career, friendships, even the way you talk to yourself when no one's watching. The problem is society has conditioned women to settle. Settle for less pay. Settle for mediocre love. Settle for being overlooked. And the most dangerous part? Many women start believing that this is just how life is supposed to be. But let me tell you something, it's not. You were not put on this earth to play small. Think about it. When a store sets a price for a luxury handbag, do they lower it just because someone complains it's too expensive? No, the price stays the same, because the value stays the same. If someone can't afford it, they walk away. The same principle applies to you. You do not lower your worth just because someone else refuses to pay the price. If they don't see your value, let them walk. And let's talk about the people who tell you you're too much, too ambitious, too opinionated, too confident, too independent. Do you know what they're really saying? They're saying, "You intimidate me." Because when a woman fully understands her worth, she becomes a force that people can't control. And nothing scares weak people more than a strong woman who refuses to settle. Here's the truth. People will treat you exactly how you allow them to. If you constantly accept less, you'll keep getting less. If you let someone disrespect you once, they'll do it again. If you accept breadcrumbs, don't be surprised when that's all you get. But the second you set boundaries, the moment you decide that you are no longer available for anything that doesn't meet your standards, that's when everything changes. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if I lose people? Listen to me, let them go. Anyone who gets mad at you for knowing your worth was only benefiting from you not knowing it. The right people will rise to meet your standards. The wrong people will remove themselves. Either way, you win. And let's not just talk about relationships. Let's talk about your career. How many times have you worked twice as hard as your male colleagues, only to be paid less, promoted slower, or overlooked entirely? You tell yourself, maybe I just need to prove myself more. No. You've already proven yourself. You shouldn't have to beg for what you deserve. If a company doesn't recognize your value, don't be afraid to walk away and take your talents where they will be appreciated. And this goes beyond just money. It's about your time, your energy, your peace, because your worth is about more than a paycheck. It's about how you allow people to speak to you. It's about the environments you choose to stay in. It's about what you accept as your reality. So, let me ask you, what are you settling for right now that you know deep down isn't good enough for you? Maybe it's a relationship where you're not respected. Maybe it's a job where you're undervalued. Maybe it's a version of yourself that you've outgrown, but you're too afraid to step into something greater. Whatever it is, I want you to sit with it for a moment, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Knowing your worth isn't about just believing it, it's about acting on it. It's about walking away from anything that doesn't align with your value. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But I promise you, the moment you start demanding more, life will rise to meet you. Some women walk into a room, and before they even say a word, you can feel their presence. Not because they're loud, not because they demand attention, but because they carry power in their silence. That's what makes a smart woman different from the rest. She doesn't waste her breath trying to prove herself. She doesn't explain herself to people who have already made up their minds about her. She doesn't beg to be understood. She knows that true power isn't in how much you say, it's in how well you listen, how much you observe, and how wisely you move. Too many people think being heard means being the loudest in the room. They think power is about taking up space, making noise, making sure everyone knows exactly what they're thinking at all times. But real power moves in silence. Real power walks into a meeting and doesn't rush to speak because she's already gathered all the information she needs just by watching. Real power doesn't argue with fools because she knows that some battles aren't worth fighting. Real power doesn't react. She responds, and she does it on her own terms. See, when you talk too much, when you overshare, when you let people know every move you're about to make, you give away your power. You let people know exactly where to attack you. You let them see your vulnerabilities before you've even had a chance to protect them. But when you listen more than you speak, when you observe before you act, you start to see things that others miss. You start to notice the things people don't say, the hesitation in their voice, the shift in their body language, the unspoken words that reveal their true intentions. That's when you realize silence is a weapon, and if you learn how to use it, you become unstoppable. Think about the strongest, most powerful women in history. Were they the ones constantly shouting for attention? No, they were the ones who moved strategically. They didn't make announcements before they made moves. They let their actions speak louder than their words. And that's exactly what you need to do. In your career, this means learning to listen before you speak. When you're in a room full of people, don't rush to be the first one to give an opinion. Let everyone else talk first. Let them show their cards. Let them reveal their weaknesses. And then when you do speak, make it count. Say the thing that no one else thought of. Say the thing that changes the entire direction of the conversation. Say the thing that makes people stop and realize, ah, damn, she's different. In your relationships, this means not reacting to every little thing. How many times have you said something out of anger or frustration that you later regretted? How many times have you given someone the reaction they were looking for, only to realize they never even deserved your energy in the first place? The smartest women don't let people get a rise out of them. They don't let someone else's actions dictate their emotions. They step back, they assess the situation, and then they decide whether or not it even deserves a response. And most of the time, it doesn't. And let's talk about something even deeper. Have you ever noticed that the people who talk the most, who constantly need to prove themselves, are usually the most insecure? They talk and talk and talk because they're afraid of what will happen if there's silence. But a woman who is truly secure in herself, she doesn't need to fill the silence. She owns it because she knows that when she finally speaks, people will listen. There's an old saying, a lion doesn't have to tell you it's a lion. Think about that for a second. A lion doesn't need to roar all the time to prove it's powerful. It moves with confidence, with certainty. And when it does make a sound, it shakes the entire jungle. That's exactly how you need to be. So, the next time you feel the urge to prove yourself, to over-explain, to defend your worth, pause, breathe. Then remember, powerful women don't chase attention. They attract it. The smartest investment you will ever make isn't in a designer bag, a luxury car, or a dream vacation. It's in your mind. And yet, so many women spend their lives pouring energy into looking good, being liked, chasing approval, while completely neglecting the one thing that will make them truly unstoppable, their knowledge. The world does not open doors for people who are average. Again, it opens doors for those who know more, think sharper, and move wiser. If you're not constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly expanding your mind, you are falling behind. Because while you're scrolling, while you're distracted by gossip, while you're focused on things that don't add value to your life, someone else is reading, learning, sharpening their skills. And guess what? That's the person who's going to get ahead. That's the woman who's going to walk into the room and command respect without even trying. The problem is, too many people stop learning the moment they leave school. They think education is something that happens in classrooms, with textbooks, with teachers standing in front of them. But the smartest women in the world know that real education never stops. They know that every conversation, every experience, every single moment of life is an opportunity to grow. And they take full advantage of it. It's not about having a degree. It's about having knowledge that makes you powerful. Read the books that challenge the way you think. Learn skills that set you apart. Ask questions that make people stop and think. Don't just accept what the world tells you. Question it, analyze it, dig deeper. A woman who knows more than she speaks is a woman who can walk into any room and hold her own, no matter who's sitting at the table. You have to start looking at your mind like a bank account. Every time you learn something new, every time you read, every time you challenge yourself, you're making a deposit. And the more deposits you make, the more valuable you become. So when opportunities come your way, when someone asks for your opinion, when a position opens up, when life presents you with a choice, you have something to withdraw. You have knowledge, you have strategy, you have power. But when you don't invest in your mind, you stay stuck. You keep making the same mistakes. You keep settling for the same situations. You keep wondering why nothing is changing for you. And the truth is, nothing changes until you do. You can't expect life to hand you better opportunities if you're not doing the work to prepare for them. The most dangerous thing in the world is a woman who knows her worth and has the knowledge to back it up. She's the woman who won't just take a seat at the table. She'll build the entire damn table if she has to. She's the woman who doesn't just rely on luck or looks or charm. She has substance. And that's what sets her apart. You have to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to be great. You have to stop doubting your ability to learn, to grow, to become the kind of woman who stands out in a crowd. Intelligence is not about how many degrees you have or how many fancy words you use. It's about how deeply you understand the world, yourself, and the opportunities around you. It's about being sharp enough to see what others miss, wise enough to move in the right direction, and confident enough to speak when it matters. And here's the truth. The smartest people never stop learning. They are always hungry for knowledge. They don't waste time on things that don't serve them. They don't spend hours on meaningless drama. They are too busy leveling up. And when they walk into a room, you can feel it. Because intelligence is not loud. It's undeniable. You have to stop thinking that saying a no is rude, selfish, or unkind. You have to stop feeling guilty for not stretching yourself thin to make everyone else happy. You have to stop believing that your worth is tied to how much you can give, how much you can tolerate, or how much of yourself you can sacrifice for others. Because here's the truth. Your no is not rejection. It's protection. Think about all the times you said yes when you really wanted to say no. The times you agreed to do something just to avoid disappointing someone. The times you let someone drain your energy because you didn't want to seem difficult. The times you stayed in situations that weren't serving you. Friendships, relationships, jobs, because walking away felt too uncomfortable. And then, when it was all said and done, when you were lying in bed at night feeling exhausted, unappreciated, and stretched to your breaking point, you wondered why you felt so empty. It's because every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with you, you are saying no to yourself. You are telling yourself that your own needs, your own peace, your own happiness don't matter as much as keeping other people comfortable. And let me tell you something. You were not put on this earth to make other people comfortable. A smart woman understands that her time, her energy, and her mental peace are valuable. She knows that not every opportunity is meant for her. Not every invitation deserves a response. Not every relationship is worth keeping. And most importantly, she knows that every sauce she gives to the wrong things takes away from the right things. Saying no is not just about rejecting things you don't want. It's about making room for the things you do want. You cannot attract better if you're still holding on to what no longer serves you. You cannot step into your power if you're too busy people pleasing, overcommitting, and bending over backward for those who wouldn't do the same for you. You cannot become the best version of yourself if you're constantly pouring into others and leaving yourself empty. And here's something nobody talks about. When you start saying no, when you start setting boundaries, when you start choosing yourself, you will lose people. Some will be angry. Some will call you selfish. Some will try to guilt trip you into going back to the way things were. Because the truth is, some people were only in your life because they benefited from your lack of boundaries. They thrived off your inability to say no. They loved the fact that you were always available, always giving, always putting yourself last. And when you change that, they will resist. Let them go. Because the people who truly respect your boundaries, the people who belong in your life, will not make you feel bad for choosing yourself. The people who are meant to walk this journey with you will never require you to shrink, sacrifice, or silence yourself just to keep them happy. Saying no does not make you unkind. Saying no does not make you difficult. Saying no does not mean you don't care. It means you refuse to betray yourself just to make others comfortable. It means you are no longer available for situations that drain you. It means you are prioritizing your peace, your growth, your happiness, as you should. And don't get it twisted, saying no is not just about people. It's about the habits that hold you back. It's about saying no to self-doubt, no to procrastination, no to bad habits, no to toxic cycles, no to the version of yourself that keeps making excuses. No to staying in the same place when you know you're meant for more. Because when you master the art of saying no, when you stop feeling guilty for protecting your energy, when you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, that is when you truly become unstoppable. Most people live their lives on autopilot. They wake up, go to work, come home, scroll through their phones, go to bed, and do it all over again the next day. They complain about how nothing ever changes, but they never actually do anything different. They wait for motivation to strike, for the right time to come, for someone to give them permission to start living the life they dream about. But the truth is, nothing is going to change until you decide to change it. A smart woman doesn't wait for motivation. She creates discipline. She doesn't wait to feel like doing something. She does it anyway. Because here's what nobody tells you. Motivation is a liar. It's fleeting. It comes and goes. It's unreliable. If you wait to feel motivated, you will waste years of your life standing still. You will wake up 5, 10, 15 years from now realizing you are in the exact same place because you kept waiting for some magical push that never came. Do you think the most successful, powerful, unstoppable women in the world always feel like showing up? Do you think they always feel inspired, energized, or excited to do the hard work? No, but they do it anyway. Because they understand that consistency is what separates people who dream from people who achieve. They don't rely on how they feel in the moment. They rely on their habits, their discipline, their commitment to something bigger than a passing emotion. Think about it. How many times have you started something? A workout plan, a business idea, a new habit, only to give up the moment it got hard? How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow," only to push it off again the next day? How many times have you let your emotions dictate your actions, telling yourself, "I just don't feel like it today," and then months pass and nothing has changed? You cannot afford to live like that anymore. You cannot afford to keep breaking promises to yourself. You cannot afford to keep letting temporary feelings control the direction of your life. A smart woman chooses discipline over comfort. She understands that the life she wants isn't going to build itself. It requires action daily, consistent action, even when she doesn't feel like it. And here's another hard truth. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to do things you hate. It's about making a commitment to your future self. It's about respecting yourself enough to follow through on what you said you would do. It's about looking in the mirror and asking, am I showing up for myself today? Am I putting in the work, even when no one is watching? Am I taking one step closer to my goals, or am I letting another day slip away? You can't just wish for a better life. You have to work for it. You have to wake up every day and make intentional choices. You have to train your mind to push past the excuses, the distractions, the urge to stay comfortable. Because comfort is the enemy of growth. The moment you stop challenging yourself, the moment you stop pushing yourself to be better than you were yesterday, is the moment you start settling for less than you're capable of. And here's the thing, once you start building discipline, once you start following through on your commitments, everything changes. You start trusting yourself, you stop second guessing, you stop waiting for motivation, you stop looking for outside validation. You become the kind of woman who gets things done no matter what. And that is powerful. Because when you trust yourself, when you know that you can rely on yourself to do what needs to be done, nothing can stop you. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And the truth is, most people get it all wrong. They think confidence is about being the loudest in the room, about always having the right answer, about never doubting yourself. But real confidence is quiet. Real confidence doesn't need to prove itself. Real confidence walks in, owns the space, and doesn't beg for approval. A smart woman understands that confidence is not about arrogance. It's about knowing who you are and refusing to shrink for anyone. It's about walking into a room full of people who doubt you and still holding your head high. It's about showing up as yourself, fully and unapologetically, because you know that you don't need to fit into someone else's mold to be valuable. But let's be real, building confidence is not easy. It's not something that just magically appears one day. It takes work. It takes stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing things that scare you, failing, learning, and growing. It takes pushing through the fear, the self-doubt, the negative voices in your head telling you that you're not good enough. And that's where most people get stuck. They think I'll be confident after I get the job, after I lose the weight, after I achieve the goal. But confidence doesn't come after, it comes before. It comes from deciding that you are enough right now, before the success, before the validation, before anyone else sees your worth. It comes from choosing to believe in yourself even when no one else does. Because here's the thing, people can sense when you don't believe in yourself. They can tell when you're doubting, hesitating, questioning whether or not you deserve to be there. And the moment you doubt yourself, the world starts doubting you too. But when you walk in with certainty, when you own your space, when you move like you belong, people take notice. They respect you. They listen to you. Not because you're the loudest, not because you demand attention, but because you radiate self-assurance. Think about the most powerful women in the world. They don't ask for permission to take up space. They own it. They don't wait for someone to validate their worth. They know their worth. And that's the kind of confidence you need to build. And let's talk about something important. Confidence is not about being perfect. It's not about having it all figured out. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about trusting yourself enough to handle whatever comes your way. It's about knowing that even if you fail, even if you stumble, even if things don't go as planned, you will be okay. You will learn, you will grow, and you will come back stronger. So how do you build that kind of confidence? You stop waiting. You stop overthinking. You stop doubting yourself out of opportunities. You act even when you're scared. You speak up even when your voice shakes. You take risks even when you don't feel ready. Because confidence is built in the doing. It's built in the moments where you push past the fear, where you prove to yourself that you are capable, where you show up despite the doubt. And let me tell you something. Every time you choose courage over fear, every time you show up for yourself, every time you take action, even when you don't feel ready, you are building unshakable confidence. You are becoming the kind of woman who doesn't need to chase approval, who doesn't need validation, who doesn't need to prove herself to anyone. You are becoming the kind of woman who knows she is enough, just as she is. Nobody talks about this enough, but one of the most powerful things you can ever do as a woman is control your emotions. Not suppress them, not ignore them, but master them. Because the truth is, your emotions can either be your greatest strength or your biggest weakness. Too many people let their emotions control them instead of the other way around. They let anger make them say things they regret. They let insecurity stop them from going after what they deserve. They let fear keep them stuck in the same place for years. They let sadness convince them that they're not worthy, not good enough, not capable. And then they wonder why life feels like it's spinning out of control. But a smart woman, she knows better. She understands that emotions are powerful, but they don't have to be the driver of her life. She doesn't make impulsive decisions based on temporary feelings. She doesn't let other people's negativity pull her into drama. She doesn't waste her energy reacting to every little thing that upsets her. She chooses her battles. She protects her peace. She moves with intention, not emotion. That doesn't mean she doesn't feel. Of course she does. She feels deeply. She also knows that just because she feels something doesn't mean she has to act on it. Just because someone tries to provoke her doesn't mean she has to engage. Just because something goes wrong doesn't mean she has to break down. She has emotional intelligence. She has self-awareness. And because of that, she has power. Think about it. How many times have you reacted in the heat of the moment and regretted it later? How many times have you let your emotions make a decision for you only to realize later that it wasn't the best choice? How many times have you let someone else's energy pull you down, ruin your day, or make you feel less than you are? That is why emotional control is everything. Because when you master your emotions, you master your life. You stop letting little things steal your joy. You stop letting toxic people get under your skin. You stop letting rejection, failure, or disappointment shake your confidence. Instead, you pause, you breathe, you think, you respond instead of react. And here's the real secret. When you learn to control your emotions, you become unstoppable. People can't manipulate you. They can't push your button. They can't throw you off your game. Because you are grounded, you are centered. You know who you are and what you stand for. A smart woman does not let anger make decisions for her. She does not let fear hold her back. She does not let sadness convince her to settle. She acknowledges her emotions, but she does not let them control her. She takes a step back. She thinks. She moves with wisdom, not just feeling, because emotions are temporary, but the consequences of acting on them without thinking, those can last forever. So a woman who truly understands her power, she chooses to rule her emotions so they don't rule her. Now take a deep breath. This is not just another motivational speech. This is your wake-up call. The moment you decide to live by these principles is the moment your life changes forever. So, what are you going to do? Scroll past like nothing happened? Or take the first step to becoming the woman you were born to be? Choice is yours.